And thanks so much for joining us for 12 News at 4. I'm Tram Mai.
I'm Troy Hayden. Arizona carries out its first execution in over 2 years. Aaron Gunches put to death at the Florence prison complex this morning. I was chosen as a witness. I was inside that death chamber. Arizona's had its share of execution issues over the years, but today's proceedings went very smoothly, went as planned. Gunches strapped to the execution table just after 10 this morning, 2 IVs inserted into his arms, and less than 15 minutes later, he appeared to be dead. His official time of death listed at 10:33.
The death penalty is the law of the land in Arizona.
Today, by order of the Arizona Supreme Court, the state of Arizona carried out the death sentence of Aaron Gunches by means of lethal injection. By all accounts, the process went according to plan without any incident at all.
Justice for Ted Price and his family was finally served.
Gunches convicted of kidnapping and killing Ted Price back in 2002. Price saw that his ex-girlfriend was living in squalor and doing drugs in front of her 2 children, whose Price was close to, so he threatened to call CPS. Well, she then called Gunches, who she was dating at the time, and said he needed to take care of things. Gunches took care of it by kidnapping Ted and shooting him in the desert. Ted's sister, Karen, traveled from the East Coast to witness the execution today.
As a father to 2 beautiful children, his daughter Brittany was 16 and his son Justin was 14 when he was killed. They have spent more than half of their adult lives without their father. Ted never got to walk Brittany down the aisle when she married John. He never witnessed Justin join the Marine Corps or celebrated Justin's marriage to his fiancée Jamie. Although we've taken the final step in the legal process, the pain of losing Ted remains profound and cannot be conveyed in mere words.
So that last picture you saw, Ted, of him waving goodbye, she said was the last time she ever saw him alive. She dropped him off at the airport. So Karen said there's been a hole in their family since 2002, and today's execution doesn't fill that hole, but she says now justice has been done, and at least the legal part of this is over.
Which was so bearing on their family. It took such a huge toll. I thought it was interesting the fact that, Karen, who you had interviewed prior to this, she almost didn't make it because she was having her first grandchild, and yet her daughter gave her blessing to go because it was so important that there was somebody in the family for Ted Price.
Yeah, and it was nice that she got some joy over the past few days, right, because of what she's been dealing with all this time. And, I really feel for his daughter Brittany and his son at the same time, who had to grow up without their father.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's what happened today.
It's interesting. I know this is your 5th execution that you've covered. How did this one, aside from, the ones in the past where it's been botched, obviously, but how has this one really, stand out to you?
I think just with how smooth it was, and I don't think we can talk about the executions I've witnessed without talking about the botched execution of Joseph Wood. And, he laid on that table for 2 hours struggling. And, some people will say it's botched. Other people say it wasn't botched because he ended up dead. It just wasn't the way the DOC wanted to handle it. From the start to the finish, in terms of everything being on time, the people coming in and putting in IVs, which was an issue for a time. The last execution I attended, they had problems finding veins. Right. No issues this time. Everybody seemed very professional. It was done, again, in a very smooth manner, and it's over.
The smoothest you've ever seen
ever.
Of all 5 that you've witnessed?
Yes. Especially now, because the thing was, the first couple executions I witnessed were a drug cocktail that was proven effective for decades.
Right.
And then all of a sudden, drug companies, because a lot of people are anti-death penalty, put pressure on the drug companies and said, hey, you don't want to use these drugs to kill people, or we're going to boycott your drugs. So they stopped. And so from that point forward, it's very difficult for Department of Corrections to get the right drug cocktail to make this happen.
Right.
And so I think they figured it out.
Yeah, which is why there was a pause that it took, almost 3 years. So.
Right.
All right, Troy, thank you. I know you'll have more coming up at 5 and 6.
Yep.